Welcome to Wealth Wisdom, the place you obtain insight and build wealth. If you are interested in this topic, please consider subscribe. The book we are going to share today is The Millionaire FASTLANE by M.J. DeMarco. Discover how to get rich now so you can retire young and enjoy it. Imagine you're going about some regular activity of your daily life like running errands, and suddenly, a spectacular sight shakes you right out of your ho-hum existence. It's the exotic sports car of your dreams, the exact one you had posters of as a teenager, or maybe even as an adult. Out steps a person who appears very young and doesn't look that much different from you, except the obvious, which is that they're holding the keys to that machine. If you're bold like the author M.J. DeMarco was in this situation, you might ask what the person does for a living to afford that car. And you may get an answer that's equally surprising. In his case, the guy driving the dream car said he was an inventor. Despite not recognizing the driver as a celebrity, he still expected to hear something like actor, musician, athlete, or even lottery winner. It opened a world of possibilities DeMarco hadn't considered before. People can and do realize wealth at young ages without becoming famous or through sheer luck. But how? For DeMarco, it took several years of studying young, self-made millionaires, graduating college with 2 business degrees, many failed infomercial buy-ins, living with his mom, and dead-end jobs before he finally snapped out of it. He chose a new city and relocated with only $900 and not much else other than sheer determination to change his trajectory. That decision put him on the path to make millions over the decade that followed. He built and sold a company, twice. Yes, he finally bought his dream machine and many more since. He retired at the age of 33 and not long after wrote an international best-selling book to share his secrets with the world. And here we are. In this sharing, we'll hand you the keys to DeMarco's top takeaways, including exploring your current money mentality, why the fast lane approach to wealth is superior to traditional methods, and the principles to follow on your high-speed journey to getting rich and retiring early. First, figure out your money mentality. When it comes to money, there are 3 types of people in the world: sidewalkers, slowlaners, and fastlaners, as DeMarco calls them. Which one are you? Let's do a quick check. Do you frequently jump jobs for higher pay and spend most of your money as soon as you receive it? Do you rely heavily on your available credit, count on luck, and generally live in the moment? If so, you're a sidewalker. Don't feel too bad. According to DeMarco, this is the most common mentality. And hey, you're probably taking in this information for a reason. Do you have a steady job with a competitive salary and save a considerable amount of your income? Do you avoid debt and risk at almost all costs and look forward to retiring comfortably in your twilight years? In this case, you're a slowlaner. Again, no need for shame since it's the second most common mentality and you're probably here for help on that. Do you own your business, reinvest most of your profits in the business and yourself, and calculate risk against potential gain? Do you rarely ask yourself whether you can afford things? Congratulations on being a fastlaner, or at least meeting a few of the many characteristics. There still may be more you can learn to further multiply your good fortune. But if you identify with the first 2 mindsets, as most do, the most important point to remember is that anyone can jump from the sidewalk to the slow lane to the fast lane, or, as DeMarco did, leap from the sidewalk to the fast lane. In fact, an idea gleaned from his last dead-end job actually opened the door to his next opportunity. Before moving away from his mom's to a new city, he was a limo driver and frequently heard customers ask about booking services in other cities. He taught himself how to build a website to answer that need. But he'd been so busy juggling his soul-crushing job and sad existence, he hadn't put much effort into marketing it, much less enhancing it. That changed once he was in a new city with little money and no job. He used what he'd learned to build one-off websites for other people to pay the bills. He considered that to be his side hustle while putting most of his effort into marketing and growing his own online business, taking risks, and continuing to teach himself almost everything along the way. Soon, he had several offers to buy the company and took the highest bid of $1.2 million. When the new owners couldn't sustain its success, he bought it back for $250,000. He then went about rebuilding it to turn huge profits, living very well off it in the meantime. Finally, he sold the company a second time for many millions more than the first sale and retired at the age of 33. Now consider again the questions you were asked earlier and how this fastlaner mentality contrasts so dramatically with those of the sidewalker and the slowlaner. You should see what it takes to make that leap. Own where you stand now and firmly decide you're willing to make the changes and then do the work to stay the course. If you're a slowlaner, you'd probably not take the risk of moving to a new city with little money, no job, or much of a plan. A sidewalker would be more likely to risk the move and hope for the best, but their next step would be to find a decent paying job with no future. Or, they might find a job with a good salary and savings plan, finally graduating to slowlaner status. Hooray, they might be thinking, as a fastlaner zooms by in their dream car. You should be in that car. Or perhaps you don't really care about a car, specifically. Maybe you want everything that true wealth comprises, which DeMarco defines as family, fitness, and freedom. In the next section, we'll take a look at the math behind what will get you there. When you do the maths, only the fast lane makes sense. Before mathematical equations, how about playing a game first to keep it light? The author proposes 3 raffle options. Which would you pick? Option 1. You have a 1 in 6 million shot of winning $50 million right now. Option 2. In 40 years, you have a 1 in 6 shot of winning $1 million. Option 3. You have a 1 in 7 shot of winning $15 million in 6 years. Look at the odds. Look at the time. Look at the money. Hopefully, you've chosen the third option, which is the fast lane approach. The first represents a sidewalker who has no saving strategy at all. Sure, a chance stroke of luck could unlock a windfall, but it's not at all likely. The second option represents a slowlaner who carefully saves and invests relatively small amounts of money, hoping market stability and compound interest will serve them well by the time they're old. You've probably noticed the odds of people who don't win the millionaire game at all, so if you've got the determination to go for it, why wouldn't you opt for substantially more money in dramatically less time? Now for the math. Each money mentality has what DeMarco calls wealth equations, based upon their inherent beliefs about money. A sidewalker operates by the equation of wealth equals income plus debt. That means they use both their income and available credit to pay for what they perceive to be a wealthy lifestyle while increasing their liability to cover all the bills. So this equation trends toward poverty. A slowlaner follows the equation of wealth equals job plus market investments, which breaks down to wealth equals hourly wage or salary plus compound interest. While they have a slight edge over the sidewalker by actually investing or saving instead of piling up debt, their income variable is just as limited as the sidewalkers, and that's because time is limited and is our most precious asset. There are only so many hours you can work, and even at a high hourly wage or salary, you're still trading your time, your freedom, for it. Compound interest can work, but it also takes a long time. Meanwhile, you can't control market stability to ensure your investments perform as hoped. You also can't guarantee you'll keep the high-paying job. Then what? DeMarco asserts that the only way to eliminate these issues is to create your own wealth with a business, and not just any old business. The fast lane equation goes like this: wealth equals net profit plus asset value. The net profit figure comes from the number of things you sell multiplied by the profit you make from each. To get asset value, take that net profit number and multiply it by your industry multiple, which is similar to price-to-earnings ratios calculated for publicly traded companies. In a nutshell, it's what potential buyers would be willing to pay for your company, which is often several times more than your net profit. Hopefully, you can see in this equation, unlike the other two, you can have unlimited control of what you sell, how many you sell, and your price. Your controlled net profit then impacts the valuation of your company, and you can even control your multiplier by the industry you choose. In the next section, we'll look at how to refine those choices to ensure your business is capable of delivering massive wealth with the fast lane equation. Follow these 5 guidelines to start your fast lane business. Say you've poured all of your money into purchasing a franchise and you're not turning enough of a profit to hire any help. You're stuck working as the sole employee, working more hours than you did for someone else. Worse, those hours are spent just keeping it running with no time or resources to increase marketing efforts or otherwise improve your financial projections. It would feel like any other job, and probably far worse. As we mentioned earlier, the fast lane equation won't work for just any business. To further explain this, DeMarco asserts the law of effection, which means you must produce something that brings value to millions of people if you want to bring in millions in financial rewards. To steer you in the right direction, DeMarco proposes 5 commandments to guide your business. These are control, entry, need, time, and scale, or sense for short. Let's look at each and what to consider with your business. The commandment of control asserts that you establish and maintain complete authority over all aspects of your business. If the business model doesn't allow that, such as with affiliate programs and network marketing, you may make impressive money but not amass the wealth of the people who control those companies. The commandment of entry asks that you consider how easy or difficult it is for you or anyone else to enter the industry. In this case, you want it to be somewhat difficult. Too much competition creates a lot of noise and erodes potential profits, issues that can be overcome if you can truly differentiate yourself enough to claim and sustain your stake. The commandment of need demands that you set aside your ego and consider who you're going to serve and how. That's because for a business to succeed, it has to solve problems or otherwise meet a real need for other people. The commandment of time addresses the story at the start of this section. It requires you to consider the likelihood of your being able to step away and allow automation or other people to effectively run the business for you. Also, consider the timeline for when that can happen. Creating a job for yourself is one thing, but creating wealth that sets you free to spend time with family or doing literally anything else you want. That's the goal. The commandment of scale underscores the importance of thinking big about where your potential customers can be reached and making sure it aligns with your financial goal. If you want unlimited fast-lane money, you aren't likely to make it happen if you're limited geographically. Remember DeMarco's last job with the limo company? He was offered the chance to buy it with no money up front, but he'd already begun formulating his plan to move. More importantly, his other fledgling business met all of the commandments, and the limo company didn't. These days he has the option to take one himself or drive a sports car of choice, in the fast lane, of course. That's the end of today's sharing. If you like our content, please give us a thumb up and share it with your friends. See you next time.